Dark Base Pro 901 is out of your budget? Well, BeQuiet has a solution for you. Right here we have Shadow Base 800DX, which is an exemplary case which brings loads of stuff on the table for you guys when it comes to airflow, radiator possibilities, fan possibilities, GPU length, eventually custom liquid cooling, AIO, everything. This case has everything. Accessibility to the ports, headers on your motherboard. I mean, this case is so well designed, and I don't have to even start when we're talking about material quality, right? Because we're used to having BeQuiet products at the top level, giving us some high quality products, and definitely Shadow Base 800DX comes in that same bucket, let's put it that way. So what do we have here? Stock, you get three 140 Pure Wings 3, one is mounted at the front, one at the rear, and one at the top. If you go, and what I would suggest, if you go with a 360 radiator that you either have or you want to buy a 360 radiator, I would suggest placing the one that is on top, placing it on front, and then you have clear space at the top, mounting the 360 over there. So you'll have a outstanding intake with two 140 Pure Wings 3, one rear exhaust, and, well, three 120 on the radiator as additional exhaust. Really spacious when it comes to CPU, cooler height, GPU, power supply, I mean, water cooling, it's all there. This case has literally everything. So when it comes to motherboards, it supports E80X, ATX, and everything below that. Volume is 62.74 liters, and the total weight is almost 12 kilos. Expansion slots at the back, we have 7 of those, and the maximum number of the fans that this case can accommodate is 8. So on top you can place 3 140 or 3 120. Front is the same configuration. We don't have any possibilities on the side. The rear is either 140 or 120, and the bottom fan is either 140 or 120. To access that bottom fan, you have to remove this shroud on the front, and then you place the fan, mount it on the from the bottom, and you can even place this one back, the shroud, because it kind of has this openings that are directional towards your GPU. So it kind of does create additional intake for the GPU. Then for the radiator mounting, now this is really interesting. From 120 on front up to 420. Top is the same, side nothing, of course, and rear we have 120. On bottom you can't mount a 120, but it doesn't really matter. So we have maximum dimensions for the power supply without the bottom fan, 305 millimeters, while the maximum dimensions including the bottom fan is 260. But honestly, this is outstanding because when you open the power supply shroud and you take a look at it, there's literally nothing there. Loads of space for cable management, power supply, and everything else. In the scope of delivery, you have possibility to mount two 3.5-inch hard drives. Otherwise, the maximum can be 4, but you have to either grab additional brackets. The same thing goes for the 2.5-inch SSDs. In scope of delivery, it's 4, and maximum it can go up to 8. Maximum height of the CPU cooler is 180 millimeters. We have 40 pieces of LEDs on front when we're taking a look at the front panel, which are addressable RGB 5 volts, and it can be synchronized either with the controller or a motherboard. Since we're on front, I/O panel, USB 3.2 generation 2 type C, two USB 3.2 type A, microphone plus headset 3.5mm jacks, and then we have power on button as well. When we take a look at the side panel at the back, you have an insulating mats which help from additional noise coming out of the case. Then dust filters, you have it on front, which is easily removable, 3 clips, and you have a magnetic attachment, so you just have to detach it quite easily. And we have it on the bottom as well, but we have it on top with magnetic attachment as well. It's just easy to remove it and place it back, easy to clean and easy to access it. Now when we take into comparison their complete Shadow Base 800 series, we have 800, 800DX, and 800FX. 800 and 800DX have 3 Pure Wings 3 140mm PWM. The DX version comes in black and white, while the standard 800 comes only in black. And then we have the 800 FX, which comes in black and white. And with the color scheme, this is how you get the fans. So depending if you go with the black 800 FX, you get 4 Lightwings 140 PWM, or if you go with the white one, you get Lightwings white 140 millimeter PWM. Now, I already mentioned the spacious part here when you take a look at it from the front, and you have this cable shroud that hides the 24 pin and all the other cables sticking out, like PWM, addressable RGB, or USB 3.2, or whatever. It really doesn't matter. But a couple of things that really stand out is the opening here on the power supply shroud. So usually, if you remember other case reviews that I did, they placed either rubber grommets and they place 2 or 3 holes here beneath the motherboard. Here you have, I would say, 25 centimeter long opening where you can reroute the cables as you desire. What I really love about this opening is the ease of access for all the cables and connecting into the motherboard. I mean, that's the most important thing, the ease of access. The same thing happens on the top, but not with a big opening. You have, well, basically, even with the radiator, you can access all the PWMs, all the addressable RGB, everything is easily accessible, and I honestly do prefer that. I didn't mention the space for the GPU because there isn't such a big GPU that I can say it won't fit. First of all, the front part of the case, the fans are on the outer side of the chassis, so the inner part is reserved for the radiator and you still have loads of space. But since we're talking about the space, the back side, wow, I mean, the back side really has loads of possibilities for cable management. You have, I think, somewhere around 3 centimeters of cable rerouting possibilities. And this brings us to the point where even if you really do a bad cable management, which I would suggest take your time and do organize it at least a bit, you can still close the backside panel without a single problem. And I mean, wow. You have loads of standoffs to use Velcro ties to tie up the cables. So this brings us to the point where the cable management is up to almost perfect. And accessibility to everything is outstanding. 2 SSDs on the side here next to your motherboard. Behind the CPU mounting mechanism, you have 2 additional brackets for 2.5-inch SSDs, and that's that when we're talking about, well, let's say general specifications. The design, really like it. It kind of does remind us of 500DX, FX, regular version, it really doesn't matter, but much bigger one with 420 millimeter radiator possibility. I'm not sure if you have a chance to mount 2 420 radiators, but I think it could be possible. I think. I don't have 420 with me to test out, so unfortunately that's the only information that I'm liking when we're talking about this case. Now let's check out the thermals. So Shadow Base 800DX, we have Valkyr Syn 360 addressable RGB LCD AIO, which is cooling AMD Ryzen 9 7900X3D. This is the strongest CPU that I currently have outside of my build, so I'm using it constantly to get more, not accurate benchmarks, but to see how the premium cases act with high-end CPUs. Then I wanted to place gainward GeForce RTX 4070 Phoenix GS because I used it in a couple of last reviews just to have the same configuration and everything all together, just to see how it will perform. So in AIDA 64 Extreme Edition, the CPU went up to 88 degrees Celsius, which is quite normal. Clock speeds went up to 4825 megahertz, while the GPU was stable at 47 degrees Celsius. Quite boring, actually. Such low thermals, nothing exciting. It's not that I don't like this case, it's just the thermals are really low. And then we go to Cinebench R23. The thermals started at 78 and ended up at 81 degrees Celsius for 7900X3D. The clock speeds didn't go too much, didn't vary too much, to be honest. From 4950 it ended at 4950, but it came to 4925 megahertz. And the Cinebench scores were quite outstanding. 26,476 it started, and then it circled around somewhere 26,500, maybe 480. I would say it was an average of the score. So all in all, what I could say about this case, first, as already stated, German engineering at its finest compared to Dark Base Pro 901, which is more premium and their flagship case. But this case brings down the cost for you guys that are on a certain budget. And this case brings, well, I would say spaciousness and quality and radiator possibilities when we're talking about Dark Base Pro 901 and Shadow Base 800 in general. So right here we have the spaciousness, we have the quality of the material, which is outstanding, loads of possibilities, E80X motherboard, huge graphic card, huge CPU tower coolers, everything all together just outstandingly summed up in a nice case that is more affordable than Dark Base Pro 901. Of course, Dark Base Pro 901 has loads of other features, inverted layout, we have control for the fans and the addressable RGB hub, loads of other stuff. I mean, I don't want to repeat myself because I covered that in the 901 video, but this case right here is quite outstanding when we take everything into consideration, including airflow, elegant and nice design when we're talking about the front LED strips, which can be adjusted to your liking. So I don't know if there's something else left to say. It's a wonderful case, nice design, altogether brings out the best scenario when we're talking about airflow. So guys, that's it for today. Thanks for sticking till the end of this video. If you're interested in the Shadow Base 800DX, don't forget to check out the link in the description below so you get more information regarding that. And if you're new to the channel and this is your first video that you watched on it, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button and click the notification bell so you can watch future videos and eventually go back and check out the past ones as well. That'll be all. Thanks. See you next time, guys. Bye bye.